Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Trying to get me some tea, got some water. Another beautiful day, another beautiful day. Thank you folks for coming by. Thank you for stopping by. I gotta just go a little slow because sometimes with these live streams, you may not you may have things to say, but sometimes it can be said so quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like in the first couple of minutes, you gotta go slow with it. I'll be right back. Mm. I'm still here. I'm still here. I just had to get my tea and get that going. What's going on, Area Foundation? Appreciate you. Or Foundation Area. I'm saying it backwards. Forgive me, dyslexia. Um, I'm here right now. Just trying to get some tea, get my lemon stuff going. I'm gonna have a conversation with you or whatever the case may be. For those folks that see it in the case may be, got the what you call them, the teapot going. I'm a little teapot, short and stout, all that stuff. To the tea goes, pour my cup of tea, and then I'm gonna go sit down, and we're gonna have this conversation. Hopefully, folks are having a good day. Hopefully, whatever you need to, transpire for you, is going the way that you need it to go. I'm just taking slow, learning. I'm learning to take my time with these live streams, at least in the beginning, because what happens is you can get to a point where it's 10, 15 minutes in, and you said everything that you needed to say, you know. So that's where it gets kind of funny and gets iffy. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I'm going slow because, like I said, I need to get my watch time. I need to, do it in a certain way. Then there's time. You got to give people time to come in and stuff like that for whoever's going to come in and whatnot, because the live stream is going, it's on, but I haven't gotten into the subject matter, the mature subject matter that I want to say. This live stream is rated R, rated X. Hide your children, hide your wives. Nah, not really. You can actually bring out the whole family and just talk or whatever. Creative redundancy. Hello to you. Appreciate you for coming by. Always a pleasure to see you by. Always a pleasure to come by your live streams. To say the least, they are very, 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 very creative. I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that whole particular situation. And I think this pot should be hot enough. I don't have to have it boil all the way, but I got this going. So that's just what that is. I gotta have my tea. My tea is going, and we're gonna get into this whole thing. Right now I'm spilling my tea. I'm spilling my tea. I didn't even eat breakfast yet, but it's all good. So, uh, with all being said, hopefully folks are having a great day. Let's get into the intro. If you're still here, I appreciate you for still being here. And as always, like I like to say, this live stream may or may not be for you, but consider this. Sometimes it's the small things that matter the most. The things that we take for granted, time with our loved ones, just the ability to rest, to read, to pray, to relax, even just, being able to have a roof over our heads. I think sometimes, that's taken for granted and whatnot. A lot of small things can add up to something big in my book. Yes, they can. And that's the biggest thing, the biggest one of the biggest takeaways if you want to have something, in the midst of that, is that till you get to the small things, it's steps. You're going in a progression until you get to this point. You're at this summit, this peak, this this mountain or whatever, this height that you've reached. It becomes from building on the small things. It comes from building on, having money in your pocket, having health, having people that care about you, that love you, that support you, people that are critical of you, that will be realistic with you, that'll be honest with you in any particular situation, that is not just trying to, coddle you and pacify you in any particular point or whatever the case may be. Understanding, just the worth and value in life. Sometimes people don't take the time out to understand, their worth, their value on this planet, and how it pertains, to the bigger picture, if you want to say so to speak. But before you can get to the bigger picture, not to get too philosophical, you start off, somewhere small, almost like a mustard seed. A mustard seed is, a very small seed. One of the small seeds out there, but it grows to a large tree. It can bear, a lot of, I guess a lot of fruit. I guess not fruit, but it bears a lot of produce. So to speak. So the point I'm trying to make is that, the small things that we overlook, the things that we take for granted, they add up to bigger pieces, bigger portions of the pie. Things that folks may not really, think, worth anything. Just with the ability to be able to go out there and work, and make money, or to go out there and afford to be able to, do things for your family and stuff like that. There's a lot of people in the world still struggling, with that, not having the means, so to speak, to do the things that they need to do. Just there's people out there who are homeless. There are people out there who are disabled, and the funny, I mean, the funny thing, or the crazy thing about that is that sometimes there are people with less who appreciate, just having the ability to live and to be out there to gain anything. If you look at somebody who's homeless, if you look at somebody who's destitute, they appreciate when they're given things. They appreciate when they're put in a place where they can improve upon, their situation and stuff like that. And a lot of times we overlook, the small things. We overlook, the stuff that sustains us. We overlook family members and stuff like that, the support that we may have from people around us. Sometimes, we may go online, or we may try to be with a certain crowd of people, or get acceptance from folks who don't really care about us, when all the time you have people who really care from you in your inner circle, or people who care about you in your family and stuff like that. I think it's a situation where, we overlook so many different things, maybe because of how things are portrayed in society and the media, and the like. Let me sip my tea. Mm, it's not too hot, but just enough. So like I was saying, it goes to a point where, we take things for granted, and even those small things that we have can be taken away from us as well. I mean, and when you look at the small things, you realize that they're much bigger than you imagine. Just the ability to have clean running water. I mean, the ability to, be able to go, out and just buy whatever food that you want, or, even if you can't get the food that you want, but to work towards a position where you can afford different things, and being able to take vacations, being able to, even use the, the internet, and have, or safe streets if you have safe streets. I mean, sometimes we take things for granted when we're in a position, where, what, look, you can prosper. Sometimes people spend so much time not, realizing what they have in their hands and what they have, to take advantage of, that they miss sight of what's important. It reminds me of a story that I told many times before. If anybody wants to listen, I'll tell the story for you. I remember many years ago, at least about 6 or 7 years ago, I was at Thanksgiving, and it was Thanksgiving dinner on my father's side of the family. So we're sitting there, we're talking. Me and a couple of my cousins are complaining. We're talking about what's not right, and what's not fair, and and what could be better. I mean, it was a really tough time, from a perception standpoint. And then I remember one of my cousins, who was, basically like the screw up, or considered one of the screw ups of the family, said, what's with all this complaining? Paraphrasing him, of course. Why is everybody complaining? What about success? What about progress? Why are we talking about, what's going wrong, and not understanding what you have. And people fail to realize sometimes what they have. It's there for a reason. You have tools, you have people, you have folks praying for you, you got people well wishing and looking out for you, for a reason. And sometimes we push that protection away. Sometimes we disregard it because it doesn't seem significant enough. It doesn't seem like it's something that, is beneficial to us, or maybe it's not as popular or as comfortable as we would like it to be. I remember growing up, I used to have hand-me-down clothes, and I didn't really care for the hand-me-down clothes. I had a pair of purple Guess jeans that I got from my cousin. God bless his soul. And they wound up turning pink. I hated that. I think I actually had, almost every color of pants of the rainbow. I had blue pants, and I had pink pants, and I had purple pants, and I had red pants. I think I done had white pants. I done had orange pants. I mean, shout out to Paco jeans. I don't know if anybody remembers Paco jeans from back in the day, but yeah, I had that. Yeah, that part. So basically, in the same year, I had green, red, blue, whatever, and I wasn't really a fan of the hand-me-down clothes. I really wasn't a fan of, having to, accept the, stuff that somebody else had worn, so many times over, even, it's like a female or whatever the case may be. But as I got older, I began to understand and appreciate what's going on, Yas Poet. Thank you for coming through. As I got older, I began to appreciate, the fact of being able to have clothes. I even appreciated the holy sneakers that I had, the LA Gears. A pair of holy LA Gear sneakers that I had on the West Coast. When you come from a position of having less and understand what it is not to, have a lot, and then you get more, you begin to appreciate the small things in life. You begin to appreciate, running water. You begin to appreciate shelter. You begin to appreciate having money in your pocket. I'm somebody who, had to spend food stamps in stores, in corner stores, as I was a younger, person or whatever, to being able to go out now and I can go and buy, whatever I want, I mean, of course, within reason, you got credit cards and stuff you can pay down on, but you got to pay that stuff back. But you learn and you appreciate, stuff, as you given more wisdom, as you grow older, as you begin to see things and say, you know what, it is a blessing, the struggles, the humility that you gain from, learning to see the small things for what they are. I know this is not a overly popular message or whatever the case may be, but this is resonating for somebody. I mean, that's why with these live streams, if people ever notice why I continue to go on, even having small numbers sometimes, is because I know that even if it's one or two of you in the chat room, even if it's just nobody, there's somebody out there that this resonates to. I was thinking about quitting, with the YouTube thing. I was like, should I even keep live streaming, even if trying to get the watch time, or, is it worth it or whatever the case. And I remember one of the old timers told me, he said, look, you got to understand, there's other people putting their message out there and doing the things that they do, right? To reach their audience or whatever the case may be. But you need to put out what you need to put out and say your piece, for those folks that need to hear it. There's somebody else out there that needs to hear what you have to say. That's why I don't know if y'all folks believe me when I say this to you. Sometimes when I have two or three people like I have in here now, sometimes I'm at more peace with that than, when I have 15 or 16 or 25 or 30 something people in there, because I can't, no offense to anybody out there, I can't count on 30 people being in my chat every time. I can't count on 30 people always being here. So, for the three people, for the four people, five or six people that come here, that means a big deal to me. And that relates to the conversation I'm having now about the small things, the smallest things, the small details, thank you, Creative Redundancy. Thank you. I have so many stories to share, but I share these stories because we all relate to the human experience, and I think we forget, that the human experience is what makes this worth living, a life. Somebody says something to me, and I don't know if this is too complicated for you to understand, but they're talking about the meaning of life, the equation of the meaning of life. If people want to understand what the meaning of life, I'll tell you what it is right now. The meaning of life is life. And I didn't understand that. That was like, what? I thought I did or whatever, but the meaning of life is existence, is the ability to go out there and do what it is that we do, the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between. The meaning of life is this. It's what we do, on a regular everyday basis. The meaning of life is creation. The meaning of life is peace, is love. Even if you want to, and then if you on the other end, the meaning of death is death, destruction. Darkness. Hatred. Or pestilence. It's easy. People. It's kind of funny though, because you know people don't actually take the time out to just understand the meaning of death. To understand. I mean, everybody looks at death as death is the ultimate negativity and whatnot, and it's always not. Sometimes there's a peace in death. There's a peace in ending things. There's a peace in knowing how to die a certain way. But like I said, I'm not trying to depress anybody, but there's life and death in the balance, the yin and the yang, and that's probably the bigger picture. And I'm not really here to talk about the bigger picture, but these things lead up to that. Forgive me if I sound a little too philosophical. I'm just having a moment right here. I'm just taking my time, learning to take my time with these live streams, learning to be, one with myself and the audience and whatnot, and just know, I'm comfortable in my own skin when I do these live streams. I'm just understanding that, hey, either you like it, you love it, you know, you want more of it or you don't. That's just what it is. That's why I say in the beginning of my live streams, this live stream may or may not be for you, but consider this. And that's just to let you know, hey, look, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. If this is not for you, it's not for you. If you got things to do, you got things to do. It's all love. It's all love. Everything is good. Let me take a sip. But this means something to me. And I appreciate it for the one person that's still here. Thank you. Thank you. It means something that you're still here. It means something. If anybody gets to this point in the live stream, gang, thank you for getting here. Just me, I guess. Listen, creative redundancy, I'll tell you this. Sometimes all you need is just one. Sometimes all you need is just one. People think you need a lot of folks to go out there and change the world and go out there and make an impact and do a whole bunch of things. I'll tell anybody in a heartbeat. If you upload videos, right? If you're trying to put a message out there, sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, sometimes all you need is just that one person. You just need that one person to get motivated about it. You need that one person to reshare your content. You need that one person to be inspired. You need that one person to say, hey, you know what? That guy, Mel is good. You might want to check him out. You might want to hear what he has to say. You might want to take a time to just listen and understand, even argue with him or whatever the case may be. So I come from a spot where, it's a challenge. It's a maturation or maturing of myself, because people don't understand. I need this right now. I need to have one person in the chat. I need to be comfortable with a lot of people not paying attention. Because what happens is, when you do have more people paying attention, you remember what it was like when nobody cared. I remember what it was like when I used to upload videos and nobody would watch. I seen a video today from somebody I was following who had 1,500 subscribers. You know what I mean? And he has 1,500 subscribers. And I'm looking at the video, and the video has no views. I was just like, wow. And this is a beautifully shot video. I mean, a beautifully shot video. I'm talking about in the Philippines. There's 100 girls in this video, and nobody's watching this video. And I'm just like, wow, okay. That's just what it is. So I guess, folks, don't have that. And I remember what that's like. I definitely remember what that's like. That's why I tell anybody, one of the things that you have to get used to here on YouTube, as it pertains to uploading content, you have to get used to people not liking your stuff, everybody not supporting it in the beginning. People kind of coming through and supporting it in waves. You may have ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Like one of the things I know specifically, I don't care how good my content is, this time of year, there's going to be a dip. There's going to be a dip because people are on vacation. Folks got things to do. So that's what happens. But you learn. But I'm still just grateful. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, for the experience, just for a chance to talk to people from different walks of life and stuff like that. And again, it relates to what I'm talking about in the conversation. This the small things, the small details. This the ability to go out there and try to effectuate change, and try to have an impact and have relevancy in the world. And it's not always about just being relevant or whatever, being known. It's about being comfortable in your own skin and seeing where you fit in, and are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you living out your destiny and stuff like that? So those things matter as well. It's just one of those things to me where I look at it and I say, there's so many opportunities out there in life. And then online and stuff like that. There's so many things one can do within 24 hours. I remember I had a pair of jeans, and on the jeans, I didn't care for the jeans, but I was always captivated by what the jeans said on the back. It was 48-hour jeans, and on the back of the jeans it has some kind of like billboard or some advertisement. It says anything can happen in 48 hours. And I was always like drawn to that because one of my favorite movies is with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. You know, was it 48 Hours and another 48 Hours? Always love those movies. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that things can change. Almost not instantaneously, but yeah, you can say that things can change instantaneously. I mean, it may take you a time to get where you're supposed to be, but it's like almost in an instant. The fortunes can change. You being at the bottom, 1 minute can have you now you're on the top. Like even me getting to this point to where I could have a live stream and having 2 or 3 people watch, or sometimes 15 or 20 people coming in and out. That takes time. It takes time to build up. It takes time to get to a certain level of success. It takes time to find yourself. It takes time to understand and appreciate the small steps that you took to have to get to the bigger things. So it's really one of those things where you go through it. You push, you claw, you scratch, you go after things and whatnot. So I mean, I know I'm speaking to somebody. I know this is going to resonate with somebody. I know somebody is going to see this, or even if you don't watch this, yes, always make progress forward. Forward always, always forward. So, Luke Cage there, but keep pushing. And Eagle VP, I appreciate you for being here. Anybody that doesn't know Eagle VP, check out Eagle VP. He does the Tuesday morning coffee time. Sometimes I pop in without coffee, just needing more sleep. But it's always a pleasure to see Eagle VP. Slash Bad Boy Keith. They're trying to do a lot of awesome things over there in the UK. A lot of awesome YouTubers here. What I'm saying on this platform. Just content creators in general. And I implore you folks out there who are creating content, who are doing things, who are learning to become editors, who may be discouraged about where your content is going or the lack of views or whatever the case may be. I encourage you to study. I encourage you to watch other YouTubers, your favorite YouTubers. I encourage you to watch your own videos and go back and look at things that you could do and improve upon. Not to be overly discouraged. Don't quit if this means something to you. If this is not for you, being on YouTube, this whole experience or whatever, then be honest with that as well. But for the most part, give it the effort that it should be given. Don't be discouraged, or overly discouraged by a lack of response or whatever the case may be happening. Because I myself have had days where I put out videos and there was no views. I still probably have videos that have 5 views, and I'm somebody who has over 100,000 views, what I'm saying? So I know what it's like. I've had videos that had 20,000, almost 20,000 views. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum. It took a while, but you try to appreciate the small things, the small steps, just the small victories. Like I said in one of my live streams last month, I was like, it's a marathon. It's not a race. So you go day by day, one step at a time. I mean, you have a chance to actually regroup and recalibrate your strategies, learn, adapt, grow, question, argue, explore. There's so many things out there that are worth doing. There's some things out there that's not worth doing. Focusing on the small things and about what's important, just being grateful for what you have in the interim. It helps you appreciate the bigger things. It helps you let you know that it's not always about the bigger picture, even though the bigger picture matters. But it's, what is it, Confucius? I think it was Confucius who says, you treat the small problems with great importance, and you treat the bigger problems with of the least importance. Not to say that the bigger problems are of least importance, but because once they become out of control, once it becomes a situation too big for you to handle, what can you do? And when it's a small situation that you do have control over, you do, have some say so, some destiny, some I don't know, some credence to that. So that's just what that is. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy like that. Hopefully I'm making sense to any of you out there. I know the type of live stream, how I'm live streaming now in the monologue format is not easy, and I'll acknowledge that. Straight up, it is not easy because you do have a situation sometimes when you're talking, you have to make sure you're pacing yourself correctly. And You 90% makes sense. Yes, you are 95% makes sense. Oh, 95%. So I guess I got to get into the other 5% that doesn't make sense. But thank you, Creative Redundancy. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Yeah, but because having these live streams sometimes when you're doing the monologue type thing, or just the you have the comments on the screen and you read back the comments on the screen. That's it's challenging. It's challenging the way that I'm live streaming right now. I got to set something up. But I've been saying that for the longest. People probably tired of me. Like, Mel, you've been saying you're gonna do other stuff. Well, but yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Things take time. Things take time. Putting in this proper perspective, especially me getting sick these last couple of days. But I digress from that situation. I don't know. Like I said, as always, I'll say to any of you folks out there that come through, you're the ones that make this possible. These live streams. You're the one that makes it, viable for me to even get on here and do my thing and just, talk to you and whatnot. And I do enjoy these conversations. Sometimes I get a little bit fatigued. A little. Sometimes I can get a little discouraged because you may not get the impact or the reach that you may want or whatever the case may be. But it makes sense to keep going. It makes sense to keep plugging away, to keep pushing on, and doing, what I do. I tell anybody if you're here on YouTube, this platform, for whatever reason, if it makes sense to you, keep pushing for it. If this is a dream of yours, if you have an audience that you want to reach, learn and grow and pay attention to, what it is that you're doing wrong, and work to fix it. Look at, your videos, study the algorithm, look more into the marketing side of it. If you have to join certain social media outlets, then that's something that you do. It's not something you give up on. You keep fighting until you reach the goal as it pertains to, the whole YouTube experience and where it goes from there. That's just what it is. Oh, as for this live stream, just for folks to know, I mean, I know this is a rule that I'm breaking right now. I'm only gonna go for about a half an hour, a little bit over a half an hour on this one because, I'm lacking on my half an hour live streams or whatever the case may be. Thank you to the other person that just came through right now to the chat, or left, the people that left and came through. I don't know if it was three people or if it's one person's here, but it's all good. I appreciate you. Thank you for the folks that come by and just listen. Thank you for the folks that are just lurking, in the background. I appreciate you. Hashtag shout out to the lurkers. I appreciate the folks that watching the replay. Replay gang gang gang. Replay gang gang. You know what that's about. I appreciate you for that. I appreciate folks who comment, who like, subscribe, who reshare. I appreciate folks who are just, just overall supporters of what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate people who ask questions and challenge and whatnot. If there's something that you don't understand, let me know. And also to all my subscribers, I thank you for being subscribed to my channel. And I say to anybody out there, if there's anything that I can do to help you out, please let me know. For those folks that are subscribed to me, I'm definitely more than willing to help out. More than willing to engage with you. If I haven't been, I apologize for that. It's been so many people to try to keep up with. But if there's anything that I could do to help out you or, show some support, let me know. I'm more than willing to do that in return, in favor. Come by live streams, do videos, shout outs, whatever the case may be. Within reason, of course. I don't want to do nothing illegal here on YouTube or nothing immoral. But, I'm just definitely grateful, for just the simplest things, just being able to have a live stream where somebody would pay attention, that's a big deal. And I tell people, if folks come by your live stream and they pay attention and they take time to watch you, respect that. Even if it's just two people, even if it's just three people, even if it's just one person, even if everybody comes and they watch you in the replay, you respect that. Respect the fact that people are taking the time out to watch your stuff. Respect your audience. I've said this many times, and it can't be stressed. These type of positives why I like your channel, man. And besides, you're a cool guy too. Thank you, Creative Redundancy. You're cool yourself. You're creative. I wish I was as creative as you, but I'm not. But anyway, however, and or, um, it is what it is. I'm grateful to people like you, Creative Redundancy, who stop by and just really support. I mean, you've been here damn near the whole live stream, and I respect and I admire that, the fact that you would come through and show that support. I will definitely go by your channel right after this live stream. Right now, I'm about to go by your channel. So thank you for coming by. Thank you, Eagle VP. I appreciate you too. You know, always awesome to interact with you. As always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.